Thank you very much, and welcome to another edition of History Repeating. I am your host, Joe Murray, and today we are going to delve into the topic of the Tang Dynasty. Now, if you ever wanted to see a historical soap opera, this is it. This is going to be a soap opera to end all soap operas. I might say the rulers and the restless. Why? Because what is the Tang Dynasty? The Tang Dynasty really gets its salty reputation when we have Emperor Taizong. Now see, Emperor Taizong was shall we say, a budding superstar in the Tang Dynasty, in the emperor's court, his dad's court, right? So he really wants to be an emperor. I mean, he really wants to be an emperor. Kind of like this.
Oh, yeah.
There are despots and dictators, political manipulators. There are bluebirds with the intellects of fleas. There are kings and catty tyrants who are so lacking in refinements. Maybe better see this ringing from the tree. He was born and raised to rule. No one has ever been this cruel in 1,000 years of aristocracy. An enigma and a mystery in Mesoamerican history. The quintessence of perfection, that is he.
But there's a little bit of a problem. First, he has his dad, Emperor Gaozao, who really has no intention of going anywhere. And even if Daddy did leave and walk so fast, not like this.
Daddy, don't you walk so fast. Daddy, don't you walk so fast. Daddy, slow down some, 'cause you're making me run. Daddy, don't you walk so fast.
You also have two brothers. So how does our entrepreneurial Taizong decide to handle this problem? Simple. He kills his two brothers, right? He just kills them. He says, you know what? You're obstacles. You're in my way. So tomorrow, arrivederci. You're out of here. Adios. See you later, alligator. Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more, no more, no more. So now Taizong has no brothers. So if you're Emperor Gaozao, Taizong's daddy, and you're sitting up there and you realize that your son just killed both of his brothers because he wants your throne, what do? You do this. Emperor Taizong was not the only ruler in the Tang Dynasty that kind of got the power in a not so nice way. We also have further along the line this woman known as Empress Wu. And you see, Empress Wu, she always wanted to be in charge. But there's a problem for Empress Wu. There has never been an empress, right? China has never had a female ruler. But that's not going to stop Empress Wu. She has a plan for that. But the biggest problem she has is that she needs to get in a position where she can take the throne. So she is working for an emperor by the name of Gaozong, and, she's trying to get his attention. And what she does is she says, I need to do something so dramatic that it's going to shock the conscience. So what does she do? She decides to murder her own daughter and blame it on the emperor's wife.
Are you all right, Seth?
Yes, you heard me right. Empress Wu, who was not the empress at the time, she wanted to be the ruler so bad that it is alleged that she murdered her own daughter and blamed the emperor's wife. Now, how would you do that, right? How in the world would you do that? Because what happened is she had her daughter and it was in the daycare center, at which point the emperor's wife was the last person to be seen in that room. The next thing we know, that child is no longer here and was murdered. It sent shockwaves through the entire palace. Well, Empress Wu, of course, claims that the wife did it, and the Emperor Gaozong is so upset about this that he decides to divorce his wife and marry Wu. You guessed it. You guess who? Wu. So, Wu is now the empress, but Gaozong is still in charge. And somewhere down the line, he kind of dies under mysterious circumstances, and now we have who? Wu. So, we're still in a problem here, folks. So, we're still in a serious problem. How in the world is a female going to be the leader of China? Because there's one big roadblock. And I'm hoping you are all scratching your head saying, you know what? That roadblock is going to be Confucianism. That's right, Confucianism. Remember Confucius, our boy Confucius, he had a really strict hierarchy. Remember, Confucius, he was born in a situation where he did not have a father. He lost his dad early on, and there was a whole bunch of political turmoil. So he creates a worldview in which you have law and order, and you have family first. It's also big on hierarchy. So in Confucianism, the ruler was above the subject, the father was above the son, and the man was above the woman. That's right. So if you are Empress Wu, Confucianism will not let you become empress. So what does Wu do? She pushes Buddhism, because in Buddhism, there is no prohibition. Buddhism is a lot more tolerant to women rulers than Confucianism. So after Gaozong is gone, Wu's in charge, what do you think the national religion of China becomes? You guessed it, Buddhism. So we are going to delve deeper into all of this stuff because, Wu did some pretty bad things. Now, I'm going to be pretty honest here. This is all allegations. We don't know for sure. But if it is true that Wu killed her own daughter, framed an innocent person, all to become empress, it's some pretty bad stuff. But the thing that we have to understand as well is that when Wu became empress, she created a great economy, she helped the farmers, she built a strong military to defend China, and she advanced equal rights for women within the Tang Dynasty and throughout China. There are some huge accomplishments. So as we get ready to dig deep into the Tang Dynasty and to enter into this soap opera, I want you to be thinking here, guys. I want everybody out here to be thinking, does the end justify the means? And what do I mean by that? Does the fact that Wu did some bad things, is that kind of offset? Is that kind of forgiven? Because at the end, she did a lot of good things. We're going to dig deeper into that tonight because we have a really great show today. We're going to be doing something new called What Would Wu Do? We're going to be doing charts and graphs. We are going to be talking about Empress Wu and kind of digging into her accomplishments. We have a really big special guest, musical guest today, which I think you're going to be surprised at. And at the end of the day, we will find out if someone gets dunked. This is all coming up today on History Repeating. We'll be right back.
He's into it.
Maybe you should get a dog.
Welcome back to History Repeating. It is now time for our top 10 list. Okay, it is now time for the top 10 reasons you would not want to be living in the Tang Dynasty. Alrighty, reason number 10, you'll miss Confucius. Reason number 9, you're not Susan Lucci.
You are the one who's made a mistake by coming here and sabotaging me! And I swear to you that I will get you for this!
What in the world is going on in here?
You are just as bad!
Good gracious! Whoa!
I will get you. I will get
You
you!
can't control yourself. I'm going to have to leave.
I will leave!
You're
And I am
destroying
going to
property
leave!
and disturbing our guests. We've had several complaints from this floor.
Well, now you have complaints from me!
Reason number 8, you don't want to be around on Siblings Day. Okay. Reason number 7, there's no upward mobility. Reason number 6, Law and Order doesn't have that really cool sound effect. Number 5, you'll always need an alibi. Number 4, good daycare is hard to find. Number 3, you'll always have to look over your shoulder. Number 2, Tang's emperors aren't known for their Father's Day gifts. And the number 1 reason you would not want to be living in the Tang Dynasty.
No!
It's murder. Alrighty, that is the top 10 list. We'll be right back with What Would Woo Do? We'll be right back after these messages.
It's Bridgestone.
Welcome back to History Repeating. I am your host, Joe Murray, and we are continuing our look into the soap opera known as the Tang Dynasty. And as we look deeper into this dynasty, we're going to play a new game today. We have a new segment called What Would Woo Do? And to help me play this really great game of figuring out what Empress Wu would do, I have asked my mom, Evie Murray, to come on to the show and ask and answer this ultimate question of what would Wu do? So let's bring her onto the stage right now. Woo! Woo! Alrighty, social distancing. Woo. Welcome, Mom. Have a seat. Have a seat. Welcome. So, are you excited to be playing this epic game of what would Wu do?
What would Wu do?
Let's try saying that 3 times fast.
No thank you.
Alrighty, so here's how this game is going to go. I am going to show you 5 slides, and those slides are going to have an action on them. And you have to figure out, would Wu do this? Or what would Wu do? You have 3 choices. Heck yeah, maybe, or no way. Okay?
Okay,
You got it?
I got it.
Alright, so what we're going to do is I'm going to pull out my cards here. Alright, our first slide. What would Wu do? Let's take a look. Okay, would Wu advocate against women's rights to make sure nobody challenged her power?
No way.
She's got it right! Yes! Woo!
Thank you, Wu.
Alrighty, Wu is on your side. Okay, let's look at number 2. Would Wu kill her own daughter, frame an innocent person to get power?
I forget the 3 choices, but I would say yes.
Alright, you want me to give you the 3 choices
Yes,
again?
do it again.
It is no way, maybe, or heck yeah.
Heck yeah.
The problem is, it was only alleged that she did this. There is no evidence. There is no evidence she actually did it. Okay, so now it gets a little
That
bit...
was a trick question.
It was. See, it's getting kind of tough up here on History Repeating. But let's see. Now you have 2 down, 3 to go. 2 down, 3 to go. If you get 1 more wrong, you could be in trouble. Are you ready? Let's take a look. Would Wu help farmers by lowering their taxes and respecting their profession?
Heck yes.
You're right! Yes, she got it. All right. Woo. All right. We are now on slide 4 of What Would Woo Do? Let's take a look. Would Woo use Confucianism to keep power?
No way.
By George, I think she's got it. I think she is channeling her inner woo. Woo! All right, this is it, right? You've only gotten one wrong, so you are out of jeopardy. You will not get dunked today, all right? You will not get dunked. But let's see if you can go and end this strong. Here we go. We're going to do this one just for fun because you are safe. But let's finish this strong, right? Let's take a look. Would Woo build a strong military to protect China and make herself look strong?
I would say yes. Woo would do that.
Woo do you? Yes, she is correct already. This is great. Well, Mom, I am impressed. You got them only but one wrong. You have been studying your woo, so you have passed. What would woo do? Well, I'm going to let you go now, and I thank you so much for being on the show. You have a good day. You have a good day. Alrighty, we're going to continue on today, and we're going to be doing another segment of charts and graphs.
Think I better dance now.
Okay, so let's take a look at some of these graphs because we have polled a number of the people in the Tang Dynasty, right? We got these polling data that we have to figure out how our Tang rulers are doing, right? How is Taizong doing? How's Wu doing? And what about Confucianism, right? What about Confucius? So let's take a look at some of the polling data we got back because, you know, we are kind of in an election right now. So let's take a look at our first poll. The first poll asked about 100 Tang citizens, what do you think Wu's top priorities are going to be? Equal rights got 35%, building a strong economy got 40%, and destroying evidence got 25%. Okay, so we know what Wu has been up to. All right, let's take a look at our second poll, which asks, what do you think Confucius's values are? 50% said law and order, 40% said family first, and 5% said spring break party. Next up is Taizong. We asked 100 Tang citizens, what do you think Taizong is best known for? What are his accomplishments? 50% said civil service exams, building that strong central government. 5% said family reunions, and 45% said growing the Tang Dynasty. So that is it for this edition of Charts and Graphs. We will be right back.
You want a little chicken? You want a Dorito? Are you hungry? I want to get a Dorito. Come on, get a chip. Come on, get a chip. Get a chip. Come on.
Alrighty, welcome back to History Repeating. I am your host, Joe Murray, and it is now time for our special musical guest.
Okay, we're gonna do it right now. Louisiana, go to New Orleans. Where they remember woods upon the evergreen. Soon as I never made a earthy wood. A little country boy is a jolly be good. Who never learned to read a rap so well. But he can play that guitar just like a ringing a bell. Go, go. Go, Johnny, go, we'll go. Go, Johnny, go, we'll go. Go, Johnny, go, we'll go. We'll go, Johnny, go, we'll go. Johnny be good. Here's a carry his guitar, here's gonna be his sack. And sit beneath the tree by the railroad track. Oh, the engineers coming down into the shade. A little music that the town has made. Oh, maybe one day they would be in a light singing, Johnny be good tonight. Go, 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 go. Go, Johnny, go, go. Go, Johnny, go, I say go. Go, Johnny, go, go. Go, Johnny, go, go. Johnny be good. Huh. Yeah. Huh. Yeah, baby. Well, his mama told him one day he would be a man, and he would be the leader of a big old band. But many people coming from miles around to hear him playing music when the sun went down. Maybe one day they would be in line singing, Johnny be good tonight. Go, 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 go. Go, Johnny, go, go. Go, Johnny, go. I say go, 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 go. Johnny, go, go. Go, Johnny, go. I say go. Johnny be good. Woo!
Alrighty, I'm sure you all got a kick out of that one. Woo! Look how young and skinny I was, right? Those were the days, the glory days. But right now we're going to do another segment of What Say Woo!
We are told Wu Zetian was ruthless in her reign. Now, archaeologists are unearthing new evidence from Wu's era that may at last challenge this version of her story. Professor Cheng Jianlin is the world's leading archaeologist of the Tang era. Historian Dr. Harry Rothschild has heard about some intriguing tomb figurines of women found recently that date to Wu's reign.
Whoa. It's amazing seeing all these Tang artifacts. I've been studying Wu Zhao, Wu Zetian, for 17 years. And finally, here we are at ground zero. You know, you can sense her everywhere here in Chang'an.
The figurines depict Chang'an's musicians, traders, and nobility. They are buried alongside the dead to ensure a wealthy afterlife, and they give clues to what changed in society during Wu Zetian's era.
Here we can see a lady riding on a red horse, going on a trip somewhere. That shows women are free to do things in that society at that time. Here we can see that there is another fashion, which is a lady wearing men's clothes. It is because at that time, women can do everything that men do, like riding, hunting, or traveling. During Wu Zetian's period, women's standing became higher than ever before.
Wu had ensured that during her reign, it was a good time to be a woman in China, and that freedom to flourish went to the very top of her court. She surrounded herself with women, including appointing a female prime minister.
All right, what we've just seen about Empress Wu is that we know that she kind of has a bad rap, right? Here's the deal. She's accused of killing her own daughter and framing it on the emperor's wife, because the emperor's wife was the last one to be seen with the baby, and guess what? She didn't have no alibi. So she frames the emperor's wife. The emperor divorces his wife and marries Wu, okay? That is some pretty heavy stuff. But many historians have for a long time believed this story to be true, that Wu wanted power so bad she didn't care who she hurt to get it. But as we've seen, there are some historians are starting to believe that maybe, just maybe, Wu was framed herself, right? Remember, Confucianism at this time did not give women a very big place. Remember, Confucianism is hierarchy. Men were above women in status. So by having a female empress, it was kind of throwing Confucianism out the window. And there were still some people in China that believed Confucianism, not Buddhism, remember Buddhism allowed for a female ruler, was the true way. So they created fake news to smear Wu. That is what some historians are about to argue and have been arguing, but we don't know. That's really up for you to decide, right? So let's just talk about Wu in general, because once Wu becomes empress, no matter how she gets there, once she becomes empress, she builds a strong army to protect China. She focuses on farmers and building a great economy to make China great again, right? Sorry for the pun. But she does low taxes on the farmers. She respects the farmers. She respects the workers. The economy goes great. And as we saw in that video, What Say Wu, she builds up women's place in China to be equal, if not greater, to that of men. Women take a prominent role in China's culture. So, as we see with Wu, there is a lot of scandal with Wu. There's a lot of scandal in the Tang Dynasty, because we can't forget about Taizong, who killed his own brothers and did this and scared pretty much the pants off his father to get the throne. But even Taizong expanded China, gathered most of the Silk Road, and did a lot of infrastructure improvements. So here we have two Tang rulers that, if we believe the stories, became rulers under very sketchy and somewhat, some would say, evil circumstances. But my question to you, all right, everybody out there in internet land watching this show, is, do the ends justify the means? I look forward to hearing your responses. I hope you enjoyed this edition of History Repeating, and until we meet again, don't stop rocking, because you only rock once. That is it for this edition of History Repeating. Join us again next week as we talk the Spanish Inquisition. Yes, it just keeps getting better and better. Have a great night.